Hello everyone and welcome back to ChapterStackss, where we sometimes talk about thrillers on Thursdays. It's been a while since I've said that typical intro that I always say. I think it's been almost 3 months, and I kind of wanted to ease my way back into filming, talking just for a tiny bit about why I've been gone, and then also to do a very mini book haul. But I will have timestamps down below if you don't care about the personal stuff and you just want to fast forward. That's completely fine, of course. And granted, this is not that much of a difference for me. I tend to post in general 1 to 2 videos a month these days, but there have been a couple specific reasons why I've been gone. So I just thought I would mention them because I'm always curious why YouTubers that I like to watch disappear. And one of those reasons is very happy, and one of those reasons is unfortunately pretty upsetting and sad. So first, for the happy news, at least on my end, and you might be able to guess that by the background, I moved a couple months ago. And for those of you who've been watching my videos for years, you're probably sick of me saying that phrase. I've moved, I think, every year for the last 6-7 years. But this time I did not move very far away, and it was for happy reasons. I don't want to get too much into it, with my personal life, but based on someone who's been in my past YouTube videos, you might be able to guess what the change is. But so I moved, and what we're sitting in right now is my office in this house, which I've never had a dedicated office space before, which is really exciting. And my plan for when I came back, I was only planning on taking a month off while I moved and just kind of got all my things settled. But my plan was always to do a really fun video documenting, turning this into kind of the little gothic library of my dreams. I want to paint the walls this deep green. I want to find a good creepy rug, which if anyone has any ideas, let me know. I can't find a shining one that's decent and not thousands of dollars. So if anyone has idea for a good creepy rug, let me know. I want to hang some more stuff up. There's a lot of just tiny things I want to do in here, but I just haven't had the time or kind of mental energy to do much besides just set things up. But so that was kind of my hope and dream for coming back, was to do kind of an aerial beset type video of decorating, because I love watching the videos of our old house. But then unfortunately, a few weeks ago, we got some news that was pretty upsetting. And I will say again, I have the timestamps below. If you don't want to hear about this stuff, please feel free to fast forward, especially if you don't like hearing unhappy stuff about animals. But I would guess that the majority of you know who Leo is, because he's been in past videos. He's all over my Instagram account. I have a whole section just about him from the time he's been a little puppy onwards. But in case you haven't seen him before, he is a 3-year-old miniature schnauzer. He's my parents' dog, and they live a couple hours away. Our last dog, Charlie, passed away, 5 years ago? And it took my parents a couple years to feel even mentally ready to get a new dog. So this is a really big deal. Not that it isn't for everybody, but it just mentally, it was really hard for them to get over Charlie. And then they finally decided to get Leo. I keep having to pause. So he had been having trouble eating for a few months, and we went to different veterinarians, and he essentially was misdiagnosed for about 4 months. They thought he had Lyme disease with his hard time chewing. They thought he had jaw issues. And it was a few weeks ago when he was finally given some anesthesia, and they biopsied a lot of different areas in his mouth. We found this new great veterinary dentist that my parents really like. And we got kind of the worst possible news, which is that he has oral squamous cell carcinoma, which is a very, very aggressive form of cancer. And I think what made it especially a hard blow is, one, he's 3. He's super, super happy and still loves going hiking. We went and took him on a hike last week when I was home with my parents, and he's just still so happy and precocious. The only issue is that it's very painful when he has to eat. So he's basically just kind of drugged up a lot of the time on pain meds to kind of help him to swallow. We're seeing some really incredible doctors. We took him to the oncologist, and this is some clips of him going to that doctor who was just incredible. But what we have basically heard is that the best case scenario, which I'm not even very hopeful from this, from what the doctors have said, the best case scenario is that he really has 6 months, but it could be as short as maybe just a month or 2. So because of that, as you can imagine, I just have not been in the mental headspace to want to film. I've still been hanging out with friends and having a great time with my boyfriend and all that stuff, but just sitting alone talking to the camera has not been something that I thought mentally would be good for me right now. But at the same time, I've also been missing a little bit, so that's why I wanted to film today and just kind of pop in at least once and say hello and mention why I've been gone. But part of the reason I also wanted to bring up Leo and talk about that is because I don't have really any friends who have dealt with a really young dog going through something like this, and I'm assuming out of maybe the people watching this video, maybe at least 1 or 2 people have. We're giving him basically cat food right now that's very, very soft to try and help him eat, but on the off chance any of you watching have had a dog that went through something similar with my new place I'm living. I can kind of see people walking by, which I'm not used to. But if anybody has tips for foods or just things to make them comfortable and happy during the time left we have with him, I would really appreciate it. I'm filming this video on Tuesday, and my parents don't know this, but Wednesday I'm going to surprise them and go work from their place Wednesday, Thursday, and Fridays. So I'm just so excited to see him again soon. It feels very strange and awkward to transition from that to happier topics like books, but I'm going to go ahead and try. So I have not accumulated that many books while I've been gone, but I still thought I would go ahead and just do a little bit of a tiny book haul. The first book that I received was Big Swiss by Jen Began, and this was gifted to me by my friend Sam for my birthday a few days ago. But oh my god, just look at this cover. But our protagonist is Greta, who lives with her friend Sabine in an ancient Dutch farmhouse in Hudson, New York, and she spends her days transcribing therapy sessions for a sex coach who calls himself Om. She becomes infatuated with Om's newest clients, a repressed married woman she affectionately refers to as Big Swiss, because the woman is from Switzerland and she's just assuming she's very tall. But this seems as if it's going to go down the road of being a little bit thriller-esque, but I'm so excited for this one, and it was such a weird coincidence she got this for me because I had not mentioned that I wanted to read it anywhere to her or online, but she just has really, really great taste in books. So thank you, Sam. I cannot wait to dive into this one. This next one is an older used book, and it is The Diary of Ellen Rimbacher, My Life at Rose Red. And for this one, it looks kind of funny. It's very shiny, and it says, does anybody please let me know if you remember Rose Red, the miniseries, and if you have positive or negative memories around it. When it came out, I was pretty little, and I remember being just petrified by it, but then I've noticed the reviews are actually not very good of it. But Rose Red is a miniseries that was written by Stephen King, and so when I was traveling around and I went into a really cool bookshop, which is a side note, if you're ever in Havre de Grace, Maryland, I highly recommend going to Washington Street Books. It's such a cool used bookstore, and the owner is really into movie costumes and memorabilia. So they had the Tuck Everlasting dress, they had a dress from The Notebook, they're about to have a big Hunger Games exhibit. It was awesome. But anyway, so when I was there, they had a really massive horror section, and this was kind of a blind buy. I didn't even look up reviews, and what it says is this is the diary from basically the 19th century about a woman who lived at Rose Red. And I'm gullible as hell because I thought maybe that this was real and it was what the movie was based on. Or even if, the diary entries weren't real, I thought that maybe this was just written prior to the movie coming out, and maybe this was a really good book and then the miniseries was based off of it. But I was fooled by the cover of this because it turns out that this book was just created as marketing for the miniseries. So this is not written by Stephen King. It is not edited by Joyce Reardon, PhD. This was just kind of created to build up excitement around the miniseries. So I don't think that this is going to be very good, but who knows? But on the very tiny chance you've read this, please let me know. This next one I'm already halfway through, and I think it's going to be so fun, but just look at the cover of that. But this is Familiar Spirit by Lisa Tuttle. And this is published by Valancourt Books, and it's their Paperbacks from Hell series, which is a new limited series of long unavailable paperback horror gems from the 70s and 80s. I believe this one's from the early 80s, and basically Grady Hendrix is picking out books that he really loved and they're printing them again. Which is a side note, I love Valancourt Books. On the very tiny chance they're watching this video, I'd love to work with you all in any way, but this one just looked so fun. I picked it up when I was at the beach a month or two ago. But this is about Sarah. She's in grad school in Texas. She's just had a breakup with her boyfriend Brian that she's kind of really reeling over, and so she moves into, or just start renting, a really cute little house that's kind of secluded. And pretty clearly, as you can probably guess by the cover, there's kind of a vengeful spirit. But it's fun, it's campy, and I cannot wait to finish this one and post a review. The next one, I'm going nuts. Maybe I think I might have unfortunately left it at the beach, but we'll see. But my boyfriend's mom very kindly gifted me a book that she had read, and that is We Were Never Here by Andrea Bartz. And this is a thriller about Emily and Kristen, who are best friends from college. They're in their mid-late 20s, I believe, and they decide to go to Chile for just a vacation for the two of them, and something very horrible happens. And I don't think I want to say too much more about it without giving anything away, but very kind of her to give me that book. So that is just a little bit about why I've been gone. I'll be honest, I don't know when my next video will be. I really want it to be posting, redoing this office, but I think I just might be in a little bit over my head to do that right now, given everything that's going on. But at the very least, hopefully I'll be back soon with maybe a little bit of a book review on books I've been reading. But again, I hope you all have been doing well. Obviously parts of this video weren't fun to film, but I'm glad to be at least kind of back. But that is all I have, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.